Hi there. Now, with this question, this is really interesting because when this question cropped up in the exams, a lot of people found it very difficult. And one of the things is that there's just so much information here, and really there's no need to read it all actually, because when you look at the first question here, it just says express 24 sine theta plus 7 cos theta in the form Rcos theta minus alpha, where r and alpha are constants and r is greater than 0 and alpha is an angle that lies between 0 and 90 degrees, giving the value of alpha to 2 decimal places for 3 marks. Now, this is a very common question that you get in exam papers at this level, and really, as I say, you didn't need to read over all of this just to be able to do A. It tends to just put you off. But if you'd like to read this, just give you a moment to read it, okay? But what I'm going to do is just give us a lot more room on the screen to be able to handle this part of the problem. Okay, well, here's part A, and as I say, you don't need the previous part of the question. So if you'd like to have a go at this, just give you a moment to pause the video. When you come back, I'll go slowly through the work solution unless you want to fast forward. Okay, welcome back then if you had a go. So, as I say, this is a very standard type of question, although there is a bit of a twist in it, which does tend to catch people out. First of all, what I'm doing though is we'll just copy the question down. We've got to then have 24 sine theta plus 7 cos theta and express it in this form. So we're saying it's going to be identical then to r cos of theta minus alpha. Now, when we get questions like this, we should be familiar with these particular formulae. If not, do check them out, okay? I've got tutorials on this on my website. Now, the one that we're looking at here, r cos theta minus alpha, is this one in here. Okay, I've got x in place of theta, but obviously that shouldn't matter. But do you notice that the first term here always starts with cosine when we're using r cos, and when it's r sine, the first term here always starts with sine. And this is the twist that you've got to be careful with here. You'll notice that we've got r cos here, and our first term is a sine term. So what we've got to do is first of all switch this round. So I'm going to say that 7 cos of theta plus 24 sine theta is identical then to r cos of theta minus alpha. And if you don't make that maneuver, you're going to cause problems on this part here where we got to work out alpha, because each of these particular formulae always have the same result when it comes to working out r. R is equal to the root of a squared plus b squared, and alpha is always the inverse tan of b over a. Because we've rearranged it now, we can see that a is the 7 and b is the 24. So when it comes to working out what r is, I'm just going to say let a be equal to the 7 and b is equal to the 24. So when it comes to working out r, it doesn't matter if we had our a and b the wrong way round. We're still going to get exactly the same result. It's going to be a squared plus b squared, 7 squared in other words, plus 24 squared. And if you work this out, this becomes the square root of 625, which is 25. Okay, so that's our value for r. When we take the square root, by the way, we always take the positive value for this. Okay, r is always a positive value. Now we need to work out then what the angle alpha is, and when we're working out what alpha is, we come down here, okay? Then alpha always equals the inverse tan of B over A, okay? Always. So in this example, it's going to be equal to the inverse tan then of B, which is 24, divided by 7. And this turns out to be 73.739 and so on. Okay, remember we're working in degrees, so make sure you've got your calculator in degrees mode. And we've got to give this value of alpha to 2 decimal places. So that's going to be 73.74 degrees to 2 dp. So therefore, what we've got then, if we just summarize, is that 24 sine theta plus 7 cos theta is identical then to r cos theta minus alpha. So for r it's 25, and then we've got the cosine of theta minus, and then in place of alpha, 73.74, and that's measured in degrees. Okay?